rifle for my underdogs, the ones willing to pay the cost. Even when we're up, we gotta take a loss. Underdogs are always against the odds. I'ma use this opportunity to do it for my underdogs. I'ma do this for my underdogs. I'ma do this for my underdogs. I'ma do this for my underdogs. Yeah, my underdogs.
Welcome back to another episode of the Rec Center Podcast. I'm Kenny Edwards, joined with my co-host, Lorenzo Parham. What's going on, Lo?
Hey, Ken, what's going on, man? Good to be back, man. Good to be back, man. It's been a long time. A lot have happened, Ken.
A
have
lot.
happened. I think our last recording was like November, December, right? So it's been a long,
like
it's been a lot, man. So we just want to give our viewers, man, a quick update, man, that we back. We released some top 10 lists that we gonna discuss so that you can see me and Ken don't agree on everything. His list be looking different than mine. As we get back to the theme, we just go have some great conversations, man, and update you guys on some of the things that's been going on, man. Ken, how everything been going with you, Ken?
Man, things been going good, dude. We normally always take off the holiday season, November, December, and then we typically come back around January. But man, life was happening.
Hey, man, as you can see, I got flowers in my background now, man. I didn't turn New Year. I didn't turn everything. It's flowers now, man. I got flowers in my background, man. After peace and tranquility back there, right?
You need it.
You
need it.
But a lot of things can change, happen, man. Our kids, they graduated. They both on their way to high school now, man. It's been another transition with Prince getting ready to go to high school, man, and now he's a high school athlete, and I'm not a coach no more. I retired.
How'd that feel?
I got withdrawals, man. I do have withdrawals every now and then, man, but I try to stay away from the game as much as possible, man. So, like, even when he at practice, I'd be at the gym. You know what I'm saying? So I only make it back to watch conditioning part of practice. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to be the dad that's coaching from the stands or the sideline, you know,
Right.
So try to remove myself from it. But it's a big adjustment, man. Looking forward to how he adjusts to this high school schedule.
Yeah. I mean, I've been watching in the background too. So, both my daughters, they go into Catholic school. So I know the OEO guys gonna hate me. My oldest daughter run track, and then my middle daughter, she's gonna play soccer and run track. So and she's talking about lacrosse. I'm like, I can't help you with that one.
hey. But when you in high school, and that's a good thing that you brought up the OAL guys and things like that, and decisions we make with our children. But we didn't talk about this. Well, we 3 years in since the Rec Center started. We talked about it with Will Levy.
Yeah.
We talked about it with Brandon Payton. We talked about it with Ed Washington. How you're the persona is you're not from Oakland if you go to the private school. We had this really depth discussion with Coach Ed Washington from Castlemont, man, and heard his views. But our kids was in middle school, sixth grade, right? Sixth grade, and never once did we say whatever it was. We never once said our kids was going to the school that we went to. They already had the lane. They already was in the type of schools that feed them schools, right? So the backlash came from trying to help you understand, Ken. Let me break it down for you, man. A group of kids that played Oakland Dynamite in that last year with Prince. 8 or 9 of them were looking into going to Sacred Heart Cathedral, San Francisco, right? Prince was going there. I already had a kid, Antonio Campbell there. And it was like, okay, cool. Our kids going to go here. Did the tour there. The kids loved it, and this is where they wanted to go. The issue was none of them was going to school in Oakland. That became a thing. So it was low. You recruiting these kids to go there. We blackballing you low. You're not an OEL person. The guys at Tech hate you. You're recruiting against you taking kids out of Tech. And it was a whole bunch of BS to say the least. The
Yeah.
BS to say the least, man. My name was getting tarnished.
I
I
saw
don't
it
care.
all on Facebook.
Oh, you saw it. You saw it, Ken.
I'm a
Okay.
lurker. I'm a lurker. I
You're
see it all.
lurker. So to fill you in to some of the things that have been said, they even said they go boycott my podcast. The rec center ain't getting no play no more. There's a lot of things transpired, man. And it was a decision that we knew these kids wasn't never going. My son was never going to school there.
Yeah.
Come to find out, none of these kids was to school in Oakland. They wasn't Oakland products, man. So it was an unfair assessment from the guys in the OEL, to say the least. You know,
Yeah, and that's crazy. The podcast focuses on the OAL. Like all our lists are OAL lists. So to say we don't support the OAL, I live streamed the Oakland High State Championship game. Part of it. It's like, come on, y'all. Now, kids, you got to do what's best for your kids, and you got to know your kids. My daughters they wouldn't thrive in that environment. They don't even have that. You know what I'm saying? They damn near suburban kids. Like they're not gonna thrive in that environment. So I got to get them where they could thrive. But if your kid can thrive in that,
it's to each his own. It's to each his own, because one of the things is, they stay putting words in my mouth, right? I'm gonna say this now for the Rec Center podcast. Your kid can go, get recruited, get offered, get scholarship from any school, right? Shout out to Tex. Just sent the boy to Stanford, right? Tex sent the kid to Stanford. Matt got a kid going to Cal this year, right? So now we're talking about two kids out of OEL that's going to two of the best institutions in the country, and Cal and Stanford, right? Two academic institutions, right? So shout out to them. You can't make it from any school, right? But when you know your child, right? And not saying my child is a F up in no way, shape, or form. It would just require me to do more work as a parent if my kid is going to school there. And what I mean by that, I got to be up there now. I'm worried about safety. I'm worried about all of these things. And issues can happen at any school, right?
Yeah.
Any school, right? But when I drop him off at the school he's attending, right? He feels like he's safe. He feels like it's all cool. I don't have to worry. Now, what I don't have to worry about is any game culture. I haven't seen it yet. If they banging it, I couldn't be able to tell, right? I don't know what they do on their socials, but I can look and see when I see the kids out there, as opposed to I spent the week at Tech a year ago. Spent the week at Tech. And what I've seen is like, no. They don't got a hold of this, right? So yeah, you can go and be recruited from everywhere, all of these different things. But like you say, every kid and every parent doesn't want their kid in a certain environment.
Yep.
And that was the bottom line with that. But enough of that, man. We gonna touch on that today too, man. We're gonna touch on the OEL versus the new OEL. Ken, what is that? Because we talk about all this stuff, what it looked like when we played in the OEL, and how that was the Rec Center was bought up for. What it looked like when we played. One of the questions we always ask our guests, how high when you get your first what was it called?
You're welcome to the OEL.
Welcome to the OEL moment. When you get your welcome to the OEL moment, we always act that, because to us, that was the most electrifying shit it is. You know what I'm saying? Either you was going to a packed gym or you was going to a hostile environment and playing a football game, right? There was no other moment like that. And I don't want to, with the new OEL, it doesn't have that feeling anymore, right? If that feeling isn't there, right? They got bands, they got all these different things, but you don't have that feeling. And I think, how do we get back to that feeling? If it's possible.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't lived in Oakland in quite some time, so I might not be the best to speak on it, but I just remember the OEL, to me, it actually started before that, because it started with Babe Ruth and everybody knowing everybody and growing up together. So then by the time you get to high schools, you done already have rivalries. You playing with your partners. You done, playing with the same dudes you've been playing with since you was 7. So then it had, and then you playing against dudes in your neighborhood. So it had that rivalry, that toughness. I think Oakland's pretty pretty tough these days too. But I think that's what made the OAL so competitive back
Mm,
then.
got it.
Babe
Yeah.
Ruth is not the same anymore. So then that whole pipeline coming up is not the same.
But another thing is back then it wasn't a if you can't beat them, join them type league. It was one of
No,
those I'm not joining you until I beat you. You just got
until
to
I
beat
beat you.
me.
Yeah.
I'm wearing this pride like I wear it, right? So we had Twan on here, right? We had Twan on here. We had Keith on here from Castlemont
Yeah.
and Paul, some Castlemont dudes, man. They was like, they stayed glued to the Castlemont, right? I I was on my way to Skyline transferring my senior year, and I'm like, hey, they raw and all, but this don't feel the
Can't
same.
do it. Can't
It
do
don't,
it.
it don't feel the same,
Can't
right?
do
Like
it.
I need to, and if anything, man, I'm gonna lose. I'm gonna lose with my guys, man. I'm gonna do what I gotta do with my guys, man. Me and Mikey was talking about this too, man, because it was a time in practice, man, where me, Mikey, and that's my brothers, me, Mikey, Matt Cobb, man, we get into it to the point where we talking about who gonna bring the guns to practice, because that's how it is, because we love each other, but we was passionate about how we did the Bulldog thing, right?
Right.
And they were way more passionate than me. I'm just the good dude that's the fuck up. And while y'all want to win games, I'm playing for something totally different. It
Right.
felt like it. And you felt that amongst us, right? So, but I could not win if I would win and they won right there. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
we had that, right? So now, do you see it now? The way I see it now is that part of the pride thing is gone. You feel me? And I think it comes with the social media. Everybody want to win. Matt go on this ridiculous run and get rings every year. Some kids be like, hey, I want that ring. You know, I want that. You feel me? And the instant gratification makes them is viewable. You can see it now, right? Now let me go chase it now, right? Instead of saying, hey, man, we about to work hard. We got to get Mac. Before we graduate, we got to get Mac. And I don't think the kids have that mentality no more.
Yeah, but look at who we looked up to and look at who they look up to. We was looking up to Michael Jordan. You know what I mean? Like he went through Detroit. He went through Boston. You know, he didn't bounce from team to team to team. So the culture of stick with it, hard work pays off was what we grew up with. They growing up with Bron. Now, you can have your opinion on Bron or whatever, but the facts are he's bounced from team to team to team in order to win. Yeah. And KD doing the same. So that's the culture of the NBA now.
But
it's the super team.
But really, but to look at it, look at the Oakland kid in this whole thing. He been riding it out. He been riding it out in Portland to the point to where I can't go beat them dudes, right? You look at Steph, Dre, and Clay. They could have been cut, right? Yeah. They could have. I think they didn't adapt to some of that Oakland culture. We ain't chasing. This is us, right? That's that Oakland culture, man. And I think they adapted some of that in our kids. And who to say, man? I'm thinking, if I think about the OAL kids, man, how many actually live in Oakland? You know what I'm saying? So they might not even have the Oakland culture embedded in them outside of going to school here, right? It's sort of like the O'Dowd situation, right?
Yeah.
O'Dowd kids go to O'Dowd. It's in Oakland, but they're not from Oakland. No. They're not from Oakland.
Not Oakland.
The knock be when they be from Oakland but go to O'Dowd, because then we get the narrative they're not from Oakland. What school you went to? Shout out to the two twins that just got drafted from to the league, 4th and 5th pick in the NBA.
Yeah, the Thompson twins.
They're Oakland kids. They went to San Leandro. And the whole argument among Oakland people is they ain't from Oakland. What high school they went to, right? And I'm like, come on, man. Like, come on, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? I told Prince, man, Prince, you like, man, you make it, man. You can say you from the city. I don't even care. Like, they disowning you, son. They disowning you, son.
The fact of the matter is they was drafted 4th and 5th. Now that cannot be debated. And that's all.
Absolutely,
that
right?
That's all.
Actually, man, and you would think people would want to claim that, right? 2 Oakland boys drafted 4th and 5th. Unheard of shit. Not let's take away from it, you know. So, man, just an update, man. So if y'all are planning on boycotting the Red Center podcast, right? Yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen, man. Our stories is not meant for some dudes either go watch it or watch it. One thing I know, Ken, the controversy, right?
Yeah.
I started to do a segment, man, on this podcast that say me and my big mouth. sometimes I'm uncensored, right? And I was like, man, me and my big mouth said McMahon, because but man, we appreciate all our viewers that have stuck with us and wrote it out with us, man, patiently waiting, asking us every time we go drop new interviews, who the next guest while I'm out in the public. Hey, man, when y'all doing some new interviews? So we appreciate that, man, because we do love these guys to get on here and tell their own story, right? Everybody's story look different. When they get on there and share it, it blows me away because we get to change what we thought of certain people and how things went a certain type of way, man. So we still working on some guests, man. I don't before the Rec Center ever ends, Keith Wheelwright is getting on the Rec Center podcast. Keith will be on here. Keith is getting on. We did not let
Keith
right.
and Mikey. Keith and
Mikey
Mikey
ain't getting on, right? Mikey ain't getting on.
Keith and Mikey.
If we can get Keith and Mikey on the Rec Center podcast, man, that's the goal for the year.
We get Mikey, I might just drop the mic and retire.
That's the goal for the year. We getting Keith and Mikey on the Rec Center podcast, man. But we had these good lists, Ken. We started off with our wide receiver list, right?
Yeah.
Let me see if I can pull up the wide receiver list, mine and yours.
Yeah.
Let me go to it.
Yep.
I had it pulled up a second ago. And on our list, we had our wide receiver list. Let me pull it up. And oh man, dude, we gonna talk about this a little later, but we did have a guest hit us up, man, and he asked you, about being on the podcast and stuff, man. And we get that dude on here, Ken. We got to do him like Omari Murphy, man. We got to just let them just give us the history in the game, man, because the lens that he's seeing things is way different from our lenses, man. So let's work on this guest, right? Ken, your list. You had Will Blackwell, James Thompson, Oliver Newell, Kenny O'Neill, LaCorey Collins. Wide receivers. You talking wide receiver. You had David Gray. You had myself, right? You had Deontay Taylor. You had Kareem Toney and Mo Washington, right? I had similar people to you outside. I didn't have myself on the list. I didn't have myself on the list. That's one of those. If you're saying you the GOAT, like you're not really the GOAT. If you're saying you the GOAT, let somebody else put you on their list, right?
100%.
So that's why I didn't have myself on this, right? I had everyone you had. Hold on, let me see. No, you didn't have Keith Parker. Okay, so outside of you, I had Will Blackwell, James Thompson, Oliver Newell. I had Keith Parker. I had LaCorey Collins. I had David Gray. I had Rufus Skillern from Skyline. I had Verdell Larkin. I had Kareem Toney. And I had Clarence Lewis. Rest in peace to Clarence Lewis, right? And a lot of these guys, right? My list was like, I saw and the ones I didn't see, their names rung so much bell, it was like undeniable that they're not on this list, right? Like I think I was going away to college when David Gray was at Mac. You know what I'm saying? But you looking in the papers, you looking on the thing, David Gray is unstoppable, unheard of. Same thing as Lil Phil, right? Same thing as Lil Phil. And Rufus. Rufus went crazy at the line, man. So shout out to Rufus, right? Our debate thing that people had an issue with was Kareem Toney, right? Kareem Toney was a debated issue. And for me, my Kareem Toney could have been, when I had him on my list, I think it could have been, I didn't see as much of him as in high school, but I saw him at DVC. And he was nasty at DVC. So how much different was he within that 1 year? I don't know, right? So that was the reason I went with Kareem Toney. And the same thing for Deontay Taylor, right? So they let us know Tay was a little hurt his senior year, but I remember how Tay was his junior year and how he was, right? Deontay Taylor was nasty. He was nasty with it, right? And then the last one was Mo Washington. You had Mo Washington. I didn't have Mo Washington, right? And the reason I had Clarence over Mo Washington is because, and this, I felt Clarence with the right attitude and being in good standings with Bean, he was on that takeoff, right? He was on that takeoff. Clarence is better than me by far better than me, right? But he was under the Bean thing, right? And when you under the Bean thing and you got Corey here, so you got your senior year, you playing with Corey, your junior year is Corey and Oliver Newell. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't in that good method, you can call it Crystal, but just natural receiver, I would have went with Clarence, right? Now Mo Washington was on your list one of the most physical, fastest athletes it was on the field. Most step on the field, he's 9 times out of 10, he might be the best athlete on that field, right? But I don't remember Mo doing too much because being, I mean, first let's say this. In the OEL, receivers from certain eras, like if you didn't play with Lou Fisher, you didn't play with Jace Goree, you didn't play with certain type of quarterbacks, you weren't having a high rep game type season, right? You catch 4 catches in the game back in the OEL, you felt like I'm doing my thing, right? I didn't see much of Mo in that way. You know what I'm saying? You see more than Mo, which is why I went with the other guy, man. It's crazy. Mo Washington, Clarence Lewis are both last on our list. Both rest in peace to both of them, you know.
Yeah.
But those was our receiver list, man, and it's a good list. Now what we had was, did Oliver deserve to be on the list? O played this, and I'm going off what I seen. O was a guy. I'm not going to take nothing from O. I'm not going to take nothing from anybody. Didn't see too much of Will Blackwell, but you know, James Thompson, I saw JT. You know what I'm saying? I saw JT and stuff like that. You know, didn't see too much of KP as much either, but KP was one of them names. Like, we know KP had, you know, what it is that he done. So that was our wide receiver list, man. And we also asked the challenge for people to send us your list, and we want to post it on our Instagram story, see what the guests got to say about y'all list. And we had one person bold enough to do that, which was Arthur Young. And Art, you know, will always give his opinion toward these lists, whether he's cool, crazy off wrong with his picks, right? Or who should be there and who not there, right? But we appreciate Art sending us his list to do that, man. So that was our wide receiver list, man. Yeah. Then we went to what list we had after that? Our corners list. Now, when we're talking about our corners list for the OEL, this is a deep list. It's a deep position, right? Because it was some really, really, really dope corners, right? So on your list, you had Derek Gardner, you had Darnell Henderson, you had Dominique Shaw, you had Mike Norris, you had Ryan Fernandez, you had Dante Marsh, you had Brandon Sanders, you had Mario Vital, you had Brandon Smith, and Verdell Larkin, right?
Yep.
I want to know something crazy? I'm looking at this list, and Verdell was on the receivers and the DB list. That's impressive.
That's why I didn't put him on my receivers list. I didn't really know too much about him as a receiver, but I also knew that I was going to put him on the corners list. So
okay, so
he'll get
on my list. I got Derek Gardner, Lamont Couch. Lamont Couch like was one of them ones. Dominique Shaw, Jay Charlin Jones, Keon Davis, Dante Marsh. I got Lawrence Parks, Pizzo. I got Mario Vital. I got Brandon Smith, and I got Verdell Larkins. Right now, the discussion with that list, Ken.
I already know.
Let me hear your thoughts on the cornerback list.
So Darnell Henderson was an absolute dog. So, and now his little bro. So he for sure getting on Arizona State. And he was on the MAC team that finally, you know, took over Skyline. So he had to get on there. Lamont Couch, I get that. He was just way before my time. So I couldn't put him on there in good faith. And if somebody asked me, be able to back it up because I really don't know. So I wouldn't argue that he shouldn't be on the list. I just didn't know. D. Shaw, come on now. Jay Charlin Jones, I remember him more offensively than defensively, but I will say in my text messages, a lot of people were asking me like, what happened to Jay Charlotte Jones? So, all right, cool. Kiki, I didn't have him. I thought Mike Norris was, UCLA, and he was on those Skyline teams that was, I think they beat Tech one time with Marshawn and Verdell and all them.
They lost in
yeah.
the Super Bowl. They beat Tech regular season, lost in the
Right.
Super Bowl.
Right. So undeniable. Ryan Fernandez, I didn't see a lot of him at Skyline, but I do remember the name, and I saw him at Stanford. And that dude has to be on the list. Dante Marsh, unexplainable. Now, the thing with Dante Marsh, they talking about, oh, he only played one season. Man, look, the impact that dude made in one season, he's getting on the list. I know you want to discuss Brandon Sanders because I know you feel bad about that one.
MV Sanders,
I know you feel bad about that one. MV, Mario, shit, people were saying he played safety or whatever. He played corner against Oakland High. So I remember him at corner. And he played corner at Laney. So a lot of these people probably did line up at safety, corner, Stoyo. You play everything. But I remember him at corner. And then Brandon Smith and Verdell, that goes.
Okay. That's good. So now let's go to Brandon Sanders, man,
Yeah.
right? Because
we
had
your
two
boy,
lists.
too.
Just so y'all know, we had two lists, right? And I think Ken won list. We both had Brandon Sanders on our list. And Ken was like, sent the message like, hey, I'm posting the corners first thing in the morning, right? So, I'm up, 5 a.m. club. I'm like, all right, let me send my regular list to Ken, right? And I go put the names in there, and I forgot Brandon Sanders on my list. Now, here's the thing, right? If we was to make a top 5 list or a top 3 list, Brandon Sanders is on that list. He's
top
on the
3.
list. He's a top 3, right? And if we had to choose the top 3, my top 3 would be Derek Sanders, Derek Garner, Lamont Couch, and Brandon Sanders, right? That'd be my top, if they would make my top 3 list, right? So wasn't no shade to B. It was a brain mistake, you know what I'm saying? And I missed out on that one, right? So the reason I had Derek Gardner, Lamont Couch is because I watched them dudes play James Thompson, right? And when they played James Thompson, and we had to go get some stats, man. But that year of their senior year, Derek Gardner gave up 1 catch the whole season. You know what I'm saying? Went to Cal, whatever, right? And I watched them play JT, and it wasn't we gonna double coverage them because Fremont still had Bart and all these other players, right? And Derek Gardner did his thing, right? Skyline won in a blowout fashion, you know what I'm saying? 2 games. At Mare was a rain game. Mare was a stormy, rainy game, so that one wasn't nothing going on. But that playoff game at Castlemont, Derek Garner was there, right? And the same for Lamont Couch, right? The same for Lamont Couch. Lamont Couch and Henry Dog knew not about the, he played man up, So I watched them play against one of the receivers that I feel was the best, right? So honestly, that's why they're on the list, right? Dominique Shaw, definitely. That's no brainer with me.
He in my top 3.
Nick Shaw is big, fast, strong, physical, whatever you want to name, right? Like Dominique gave me issues when he was at corner, right? Because he was
everything.
He was fast, he was athletic, and he could, if he missed on a bump, he had to get back speed to get there, right? That's Dominique Shaw. I had Jay Charlin. My sophomore year, Jay Charlin that year was a man amongst boys, man. That year, offensively and defensively. Definitely had Kiki. We had Dante Marsh, right? So I didn't know who Dante Marsh was until that game at Tech. And in that game at Tech, I would want to say that was his best game of the season. He scored in every fashion almost. Had a run, touchdowns, playing the receiver. That was a little rainy game too, man. But as you can see, his work ethic and who he is as an athlete, it ain't go away, right? And that guy was just one of the ones at corner, right? Now I had Lawrence Parks, right? Pizzo, right? The thing with Pizzo is on our Tech team's coming through, he was probably, we talking Mikey, we talking me, we talking a few other people. Pound for pound wise, he was one of the most athletic guys on that team, two ways. Like I remember he was only 5'7", 135 pounds, and first two games of our varsity career, he ran kickoffs back. Right, he ran kickoffs back. Right, I looked at it when I thought about this list and thought about the players and all this stuff. I never saw him get beat for a touchdown. I never even saw him give up too many catches. Right now, we had played against this team from Franklin. They had a receiver named Frank Strong. Right, from Stockton. Receiver named Frank Strong. Right, Frank torched us. Frank torched us because they beat us the year before. Coach Edwards kept us in this zone, and he ate that zone up. Right, we begging him, dude, put us in man, dude. Like you got two of the fastest people out here. He never put us in man. Frank Strong torched us. But it was like he catching stuff in the zone and we right there by it. That's not a catch on us type of thing.
Right.
But when that dude was in man, when Pizzo was in man, Lauren Park was in man, he ain't get beat. He ain't get beat. And he was faster than all of us. Right? He was faster than everybody on the field, right? Faster than everybody on the field. That's why I had him on the list, because what I saw. His hardest time was in practice in our one-on-ones. Like that was the hardest thing for him. I have Mario. Brandon Smith, man, I don't think no one can make a top 10 list of OEL DBs without putting Brandon on the list, right? I don't got Brandon Sanders, which I should have Brandon Sanders, but if I was to, I'm not removing Brandon Smith though. Brandon Smith would make a top 10 too, right? So the thing was this, Ken, if you had to add Brandon Sanders to my list, who would you take off? Well, you could take off a few because
I never saw Pizzo, so
well, you take Pizzo off. Okay.
I never saw.
You take Pizzo off, but it was a couple. Any other corners? Oh, hold on. Another corner we missed. Terrell Bird-Smith. T-Bird.
Yeah.
T-Bird, right? So we didn't have T-Bird on our list, right? And Eugene said if he was to make a list, T-Bird is on his list, right? And that's one of those you played against T-Bird type of things, right? And T-Bird, he gave us some stats. He said he gave up one catch that he had a Derek Gardner year. Gave up one catch that season, right? Locking everybody down, right? But so if you had to add T-Bird to one of your lists, we already added Brandon to my list, Brandon Sanders to my list, and took off Pizzo. Would you add T-Bird and take off anybody else? Would you add him and take off Kiki or Jay Charlin or Fail? Would you add T-Bird to?
I couldn't. No disrespect either. T-Bird, when we played against San Francisco in the All-Star game, T-Bird was our starting corner.
Who was the other corner?
He's gonna kill me. He's Facebook friend. His name is Keith. I can't remember his last name. He went to Mac too, so it was T-Bird and Keith.
Okay.
They was both from Mac. I couldn't, bro. DG was MVP of the Cali, Texas game.
Who was DG?
Derek Gardner.
Oh, I mean, definitely not. Come on, that's not debatable, right? We're not going on Derek Gardner. That's out, right?
Lamont Couch. A lot of people vouch for him, so I couldn't take him off. D. Shaw's in my top 3. Jay Charlin was at Skyline before I even got to high school, and I heard about him. Keon, I knew about Keon. DeMarsh, stop it. Pizzo, again, I can't even speak on Pizzo because I don't know. Mario Vital, I just couldn't take T-Bird over MV. Brandon Smith couldn't do it. And Phil was damn near All-American. So,
but I did see one that would be if it was in place. I didn't see too much of T-Bird. When I played against Mac, I don't know if T-Bird was on a sophomore or if T-Bird.
But I just want to say one thing before we move on. And I have to address this because it like I wrote a whole paragraph reply and then I just erased it. Herm Edwards was in my ear. Just don't send. So T-Bird keeps saying I was scared to throw his way. I just have to say this. First of all, I didn't even know who T-Bird was until All-Star practice. Not that he wasn't good. It's just, one, I didn't go to public school until I got to Oakland High.
Right.
2, I didn't play Pop Warner. So I mean, I ain't know these people, man. I'm just playing on the field, dude. Like, there was no don't throw his way. Secondly, man, back then, if I threw 10 passes, like, we was airing it out. You know what I mean? Like, and 3 of those was probably halfback screens. So let's clear that up. There was no, first of all, that MAC defense, I didn't even know who Big Hen was at the time. So the only people I remotely was looking for, and not even looking for out of fear, just I knew who they were, was Gaddafi, rest in peace, and Chunga, and Marv Henderson. Marv, because he transferred from Oakland High. Gaddafi and Chunga, because they played Oakland Saints with my cousin Jeff Drain. So other than that, I didn't even know these people to be scared to throw somebody's way. So let's just clear that up, T-Bird. I was never afraid to throw you. I didn't even know who you were. And not in a disrespectful way, I just didn't know who you were.
Yeah, and it happened like that because, I mean, T-Bird, to his credit, he did get a scholarship.
He did get a scholarship to San Jose State. That cannot be. That happened.
Scholarship, San Jose State,
and he did start for us in the All-Star game. That happened.
And he was a track guy, so he had to have some speed.
Yes.
Running the MAC relay teams, you know.
Yes. And Gene Jones said, Bird gave him problems.
Gene Jones said it, and if I was to look at your list and be like, okay, I didn't see too much of T-Bird, and maybe I'm going off. Maybe my thing when I say I didn't see too much, I'm going off Atlanta, right? I'm going off Atlanta, and I'm going off what it would look like when I played, right? So when we played MAC, T-Bird definitely younger than me. I don't know if he was on that team, but they had some good athletes. Trandon and Maurice Gaines was corners, you know. They had Ramin and JJ back at safety. So they had a good secondary, right? Kind of hard to crack that secondary if you're a young guy anyway, right? But now when we say Ryan Fernandez, right? So I think we look at DB, we look at Ryan Fernandez, Stanford, right?
Yeah.
Ryan wouldn't make the top 5 Skyline DBs. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He wouldn't make the top 5 Skyline cornerbacks, right? So we looking at the Stanford. Now we say top 5 to 10 receivers, Ryan Fernandez is on that list of Skyline. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So Ryan Fernandez could be interchangeable in the OEL corners list, right? You know what I'm saying? But then again, it's like we still got Devlin Jackson.
There's so many other people.
It's a lot of people, right? And what we do is we try to give other people their list of top 10s, but we can compare, right? We compare and see, do other people put them on this list because we missed something. You know, we missed this, missed that, and we always do that. Like I tell everybody, I'm not on everybody top 10. I'm not on everybody list top 10 list at all. No. Gino said I ain't even playing high school. Gino said, "Lo, you ain't even play high school ball, right? What the fuck are you talking about?" You know? Well, that's another story, right? So that was our DB list, right?
Yeah.
That's our good DB list, Northern Leeds, right?
Yeah.
Safety list. It was kind of hard coming up with a safety list, right? Because safety list is OEL safety list. If you were a good safety in the OEL, you were just one of the best athletes on the field.
Yeah.
A lot of our safeties that's on the list could have been, like, we got Tubab, who's also good at receiver, right? Vach was just Vach was Vach, right? Vach was Vach. And if you look at this list, man, hold on. We got Tubab, we got Vach on our safety list. We got Dante Marsh on our corner list. Those are all Fresno State guys, right? All in the same class, all go to Fresno State, right? Shout out to them. We got Dewey Hale, and then I did see Dewey for 2 years, right? Did see Dewey for 2 years, and now Dewey was one of the guys. He wouldn't lead the lead in interceptions, but he was one of them. I'm run supporting, banging free safeties, right? Yeah. Free safety. He was doing his thing. Gino Vital would be like, if we had the athletes list, right? We had an athletes list. Gino Vital was definitely on the athletes list. We could have put Gino on a couple of different.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, bro, Gino could have been on the running backs,
a couple of different lanes,
the corner, the safety, all the lists.
He could have been on those, right? Then we got Mike Denard, who was also on our running back list, right? And a lot of the time, Mike is what I seen, right? I'm next to him. I'm seeing him make some plays, and they go back to the theme. Mike wasn't a 3-year varsity player, so he did all this shit in 2 years. His sophomore year, he played JV, and so to do what he did in a 2-year time frame is crazy, right? It's crazy. Deco was one of the most feared strong safety in the. It was on that Skyline team. We got Harrison Smith. Now, do Harrison get an asterisk by it on the Dante Marsh team? Because they say Harrison only went to Skyline 1 season.
Yeah, but you just said Mikey only played 2 seasons of varsity. So to me, it's
but
like,
Mikey, but his third, he was in the OAL. Like he came from Hayward. Like so no asterisk by Harrison and Dante. Okay. We got Tyrone Henderson, man. You know Tyrone Henderson, man. Them Henderson guys is crazy at Mac, man. How many brothers is it? 3 of them?
Three. Well, it's 4 brothers, but 3 played football.
So hold on, wait. Let's look at this. Hold on. Because remember we used to have the OEL family royalty conversation,
and
right?
I always bring up the Hendersons.
So it's Tyrone Henderson. It's Marv. I mean, is it Marv or is it Marv?
So Darnell is the youngest.
Darnell the youngest.
Tidy is, and then Marv is and then there's an older brother, but he didn't play football.
Oh, but Patrick is not their brother.
No.
Patrick Henderson, also a Mac guy.
Yep. But no, they're not brothers.
He just got the same last name as them.
Last name.
I'm about to say, if Pat their brother, then they end up running with.
No, they might be cousins. I don't know, but I never met Pat. So.
Oh yeah, Pat a good dude, man. He was one of the receivers at Mac during that time. Also played some DB.
Yeah, he's a great coach.
On to play. Where did he go?
I can't remember where Pat went, but I think he's coaching now.
It wasn't Oregon State. He definitely coaching, but it's one of them schools though. It's one of them schools.
I can't remember.
One of them schools of either Oregon State, Washington State, one of them. He went on to do something good. If he was related to them, I was gonna say, hey, you know what? They down to them versus Vitals, right? Yeah. Then I had Keith Bonaparte from Skyline. Yeah. Skyline. You didn't have Keith on your list, right?
Only because I like the names sound familiar, but I didn't really see it. So
okay,
I'm not discrediting him at all.
I had Jay Webb from Fremont. Yeah. He was him and Dewey. Dewey was a free safety. Jay Webb was a strong safety. Jay Webb was my size, all of 150 pounds. But that dude would bring that whole. I'm surprised Jay Webb is not walking around with CTE or something like that. He hit some of everybody from our year on JV together, because I was at Fremont my first year on JV with Jay Webb. To his 2 years on varsity, Jay Webb will bring it. Missile, right? Missile. And you had it different on your list. Only 2 different things was Humphrey, Garrett, and Dwayne Taylor, right? Humphrey and Dwayne, right? Now I didn't have Hump on my list.
Hump will smash your ass. Hump will smash your ass. Hump will smash. I see in the All-Star game, Hump literally knocked somebody unconscious. Ambulance came out, game paused 30 minutes.
Oh yeah. See, but my thing is because it's one of those things, right? I was seeing more Hump at tailback type of thing. You know what I'm saying? And he was like tailback because they didn't have nobody else. Terry was there, but I don't really remember Terry playing. They had Derek Whiteside.
Yeah, but D. Whiteside. Well, first of all, I think D. Whiteside was 99, and if he was 2000, D. Whiteside got, he gonna play in the preseason. He ain't gonna be there in the OAL. You know what I mean?
That's the low story. Okay, I got you.
Without putting, you know what I mean?
So. I give you that, man. Shout out to Derek Whiteside. Here's the thing, though, that people fail to realize. If we're still talking about you in a top 10 list, 30 years later, so we went from 94 to it's 2003 now, 2023. 30 years later, we're still talking about you. Your name's able to get mentioned and stuff. you had a hell of an impact on your high school career that we're talking about, right?
Absolutely.
It is not the, and we ever leave somebody off, it's not to shade anyone, right? But your name even being mentioned 30 years later is like, oh shit, we still talk about you. You must have did some good, right? One of the lists we go come up with, I think we should do this one right now on the spot too, Ken, because the people that didn't make this list, right? We go top. We just go name our top 10 underrated list. Underrated list, top 10, right? And it could be whatever position.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna even hold you. I think I'm number one.
I was gonna say you, Ken.
I was hey,
Ken. It's crazy when I thought about this list, Ken. I say, hey, why people don't give Ken? It's like Ken is scholarship guy, all of this shit. Like, why Ken don't? Is it the Oakland High factor, right? But if I go,
yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna go, and so I do got Ken on my underrated list, right? I have Danielle Crane on my underrated list, right? Because he lost, didn't see too much. You know what I'm saying? Underrated list. Again,
we're just talking about football.
Football. Danielle Crane. I got
Dante Campbell.
Dante Campbell, right?
Terrence Stitt.
I don't know Terrence Stitt.
Terrence Stitt went to Oakland High with us. He started at City College. That dude was a banger.
Would you put him on your underrated list above Jeremiah Captain? Because they both can't go.
So Cap is like my brother. So Cap got really, really good at Lady.
Okay. So it was after the fact.
Yeah. He got exponentially better.
Okay. So now that we had this conversation, right? And we have our talks, right? Would T Bird go on your underrated list? Because we never put him on our list, but apparently he has some sort of impact. Would T Bird be on the underrated list? And then that goes to show how much do you value? Here's the thing: how much do you value Eugene Jones' opinion with T Bird?
Eugene was a dog, so
Eugene was a dog.
So we gotta put him on there.
Do he stamping it? T Bird will go on that underrated list.
So this is my thing. I think T Bird, for me, he's rated right where he needs to be rated. I don't think I underrate him. I don't think he was trash. I don't think he was garbage. I think he was a really, really good corner. And that's where I rate him. I don't think he was elite like a Derek Gardner or Dominic Shaw. I don't think he was in that category. But I don't think he was like a nobody. Like he's in the really good category. He was really good.
Okay. Another person I would throw on my underrated list would be W.C. Brewer. I think Dub C. I put Dub C on our list. We had Gino on here that basically said how, he did these things and Dub benefit, but Dub is overshadowed because he was there with Vital Brothers. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I remember, like, you could turn that Super Bowl game on, man, and Dub is doing his thing, right? Yeah. Doing his thing, going all out. I put W.C. Brewer on my.
I put Lamar Murphy on the underrated.
Castlemont.
From Castlemont.
Lamar Murphy.
At All-Star practice, that dude, and I guarded him when we played Castlemont. That dude was an amazing athlete. He just wasn't coached, so he didn't really know what to do with it. Mm-hmm. But Lamar Murphy at Skyline with Bean, what?
Yeah, but here's the thing, right? Bean, Skyline wasn't for everybody, so you can see why some people don't make that choice of going to Skyline, right?
Well, some people don't have the choice either, but and I don't know Murph as a person. I never met him personally. I've only met him like in between the lines, so I don't know what kind of guy he was.
Murph, good dude. Murph, a good dude.
That dude was an amazing athlete.
Antoine Smith. I put Antoine Smith on as underrated. And the reason I'm putting Twan there, man, Twan had a hell of a season his senior year, right? And we wish Twan would have came out of football much earlier, had a longer career at Tech. You know what I'm saying? So he only really had that he had a VAR year before that, but it was Dion, me, all of these dudes there, man. So, but his season is hella underrated. You know what I'm saying? And then he went to Laney, played this couple years at Laney, went to Humboldt, right? So
I think Raymond Cleveland.
You put Raymond Cleveland on the
underrated. Yeah, I think Raymond Cleveland was a solid high school quarterback.
What if you had to look at because we did do a quarterback list, right? Which is yeah, we did a quarterback list when it was like I think we went we had a quarterback list because they said let's take old boy from Skyline off because he came and transferred. We had Jace as the number one, Jace and Lou Fisher. We had those guys on our list. Another underrated, and actually, you know what, Ken? You may be number one as an underrated.
In my book, I'm number one.
Okay, now I'm gonna give you 1B. 1B, Jamario Oliver from Fremont.
I know the name, but I don't know that.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Athlete wise, Jamario would probably be better than. Damn, I'm going on a limb and saying I might get crucified for this, right? But Jamario Oliver probably was better than everybody at Skyline in them days.
Wow.
Yeah, Jamario Oliver. The only thing that messed him up was DeAndre Pertee gets hurt at quarterback. They got to put him at quarterback. And he threw the infamous pick six to Corey Collins, right? And he never fully recovered from that, right? But defense, running back, he was Ricky Williams. He was Ricky Williams running for Fremont. You know what I'm saying? Hard to tackle on offense. Like I think Jamario Oliver might be definitely.
I give him the nod, but I'll go 1B.
Huh?
He could have a nod. I'll go 1B.
If they're 1A, 1B is the same thing, right? So definitely. Because no one brings Jamario Oliver name up, man. And it's because, after that, he started blowing. He started all of this stuff. Like, can you be the guy who team was getting ready to win the only Silver Bowl against Skyline that close and throw the pick six? Your quarterback should have ran the ball. Their defense had 2-0.
Especially if your quarterback is a running back.
Run the ball. Run the ball and punt and put your defense back on the field. You got to BD Lockhart. You got Dewey and them back there. Just run Daryl Akins and them. Just run the ball and punt it. You throw this and
sound like Seattle Seahawks.
How many blamed him for that loss, man, and made it to where he ended up not being able to live with that, man. That's some pressure I wouldn't want to live with, especially in those days. You're talking old OEL days, right? Yeah. Old OEL days. You the guy that
could be tough.
Because no one beat Skyline again or came that close until they lost. You know what I'm saying? So I got Jamario Oliver. I'm gonna think of two more people on that underrated list. That was a good pick though, Jamario Oliver. Underrated.
Jamal Jones.
Linebacker
from Skyline.
We're not underrating Jamal Jones. If we did a running back, we did a linebacker or a D tackle list, Jamal Jones is on that, right?
But I think we put him on. Like if you go around that, I don't think people remember Jamal Jones.
Dude, hey, listen to me.
Do they?
Man, what? They must have, come on, man. He was a walking
nightmare. I know. But I feel like they don't know.
No, Jamal Jones is not underrated, dude. We just haven't did that list. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, even if we did a list, like we don't do a list for linebackers, so we don't talk about Chip that much and all of them dudes, right? So I'm not saying they underrated. We just haven't did that list of people that we talk about, man. No, Jamal was an animal.
Yeah.
I'm thinking one of them great Oakland High dudes, we don't talk about this much. You were young, but Eric Cook, right? E. Cook was one of them dudes that was a good athlete, offense and defense, and had to carry Oakland High, man. If E. Cook was gone to a Skyline, man, we just didn't have those. I'm chasing this. E. Cook was from the 20s. It's naturally he going to Oakland High, man.
Right.
E. Cook was one of them ones. Definitely underrated. You know, people don't talk about he Cook as much. You know, he came after that that Omari Murphy them years and plugged right in. He could have been there a couple years with them. He could have been there a couple years with them because he class of '96, they class of '94. So he could have been there. He could have been there with them. And
Shit, that whole '98 Tech defense to me.
Matt Cobb, that's an underrated person. We talking
the
like
whole
that.
defense.
Matt Cobb was underrated. And because like you said, you didn't see that much of Pizzo, man. Like he probably was one of the most underrated. That's why I put him on my list because I saw him at corner. But we talking underrated. He was definitely up there, man. Definitely up there, man. So it's a hard list. That's one of the lists we need to propose to the public and see if they could come up with an underrated list. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because even on your safety list, Tuba said Dwayne Taylor was underrated.
Yeah.
Dwayne Taylor was underrated, you know. Good ass safety too. Good ass safety. So that's a good one.
I just say how many guys went D1 on a 1-9 team? That's got to say something.
Ken, we know you, but you and Dante Campbell are right.
Come on, man.
But then again, we also got Danielle Crane.
Who? Yeah, no, I put him on there too. Danielle when I first saw Danielle at quarterback, I think I was in the 11th grade. I think I was in maybe 10th or I don't remember grade. But anyway, Danielle, he probably was better than me at quarterback.
Yeah.
He was like Michael Vick. He throws left-handed. He runs like a wide receiver, and he can launch that thing.
So let me ask you this, right? Knowing what you know now, I'm talking to the parent Ken. I'm talking to the parent Ken, right? Not I'm from the OEO Ken.
Yeah,
would you keep yourself in a losing program?
So similar to some of our other guests, sometimes I wonder, did being a multi-sport athlete hurt me? I stayed at Oakland High. Well, a couple of things, because I was lined up to go to MAC. I had already met with the coaches. We had the hardship. I was already set, but my mom was like, nah. So, and then my dad was like, you know, my dad is always like, stick it out. You know what I'm saying? Don't run, stick it out. So I stayed at Oakland High, but also the basketball team, we were getting better, and I was with those guys. Dante, Jermaine, Antonio Williams Park. I'm like, we could build something.
Okay.
So I stayed. And then I also wanted to play baseball. Mac's baseball team was atrocious. Like Oakland High was bad, but Mac's baseball team was terrible. So I just ended up staying at Oakland High. I don't know that I would have left. I don't know that I would have left. And we lost a lot of transfers from Oakland High. Like Marv Henderson started at Oakland High. Tony Nieves played offensive line at Skyline and was the kicker. He started at Oakland High. And my boy Gary Merchant.
G Merch started at Ohio.
G Merch started at Ohio. That's how we met.
Oh wow!
Yeah, he went to McChesney.
Okay, I didn't know.
So we was building there too, but then everybody left. So I probably would have stayed. If I was to go anywhere, it would have been O'Dowd, but my parents wasn't gonna pay for me to go to school no more. I messed that up at Harry Royce. Like they wasn't finna do that.
Okay.
So
I'm thinking, right? Because I'm seeing, I don't know. I think the parent in me, and it's not losing program, it's the program period, right? So what does the program look like right now? If my kid is on a losing team, but you see that people care about what it is they're doing, then I can stick that out. Yeah. People care, like y'all have passion for you doing, and you just losing, the league is tough and all of those things, I can stick that out. Now, and if it's one of those, you go have the team might not have a season after grades come out type of thing, I'm leaving. Like,
I'm leaving.
No, we're not doing this, right?
But you gotta think on the basketball side, we have Freddie. And then on the baseball side, we had Coach Harold Jefferson. So it was like 2 out of the 3 sports were very stable.
Mm,
It was just
yeah.
football was in. And then Oakland High, we was just coming off of not too long ago,
Glory days.
glory days.
Glory
And
days.
that's what I saw in junior high. So I'm like, man, I'm finna go to Oakland High. And truth be told, I'm coming out of private school, you know.
Oh, you turned out. You turned out.
Well, it turned out, and Oakland High is kind of safe. You know that?
Yeah, it's right.
You know
there.
what I mean? It's kind of
Yeah.
safe where you can make that transition. You know, there are
Easy.
Tech would have been cool because Jeff Drain, my cousin, Ray.
I mean, Tech would have gave you the same feel as the Oakland High. Like
That's what I'm saying. So
of the
Tech was an
Oakland High.
option. Tech was an
Yeah.
option. But Freddie, I already had a relationship with Freddie. So,
Yeah.
and then Ray Cleve only 1 year ahead of me. So it's like one of us ain't gonna play.
Mm.
So
See, and so that's what goes back to like now what we see so this is my last time ever saying the new OEL because I don't like the differentiate thing. It sounds so divisive, right? But this is what you're seeing now, man, within the OEL, right? Is and I'm on both sides. I feel both sides of the coin. I feel it if a kid and a parent be like, "Hey, this ain't working out. I'm gone." You know what I'm saying? We're losing. These kids ain't serious. I'm already risking putting my safety issues and all of these stuff. I'm leaving, even if the option is Encinal. The option is, and for some people, create parents send their kids to San Leandro High. San Leandro ain't no different than the OEL school. Where the hell is that, right?
Right.
You're not education better at Tech. All of these things. It just in San Leandro, right? So now you're dealing with the stigma of just the name Oakland that's being associated nowadays, man. To where on the football side, it's not really. I don't want to say it's Mac or bust on the winning side of it. But on the getting outside of it, you know, you got Tech, got some guy out. Edson, shout out to Edson Elijah. He got like 5, 6 Power 5 offers. You know what I'm saying? So you could get that from there, right? Just me as a parent, if everything's not lining up program-wise, are the kids like in my older days now, I'm a little more on the accountability side. Like, how do the kids act when they get to practice? Is it just a stroll in? I'm late time to practice because I believe that sets their character for what their life go look like, right? I hate a late person. I hate a late person, period, right?
Absolutely.
So, but them habits, if you strolling in at this time all the time, what's the morale? What's the morale? All those things look like. That's one of my readers, my indicators, right? So if we're losing and shit all fucked up, I gotta go.
Why would you stay?
If we got if this is a football team and it's 26 kids, man, that's injury shit. We got, you know, I got to look different for the program, you know, that I'm looking that I would do differently. So now, and it's a question like now, we're older now, so we ask some of them dudes, they'll probably be in the pride thing. You should have pride for the school you came from. Like, nah, I wouldn't have left. I'm staying with my guys, right? But in hindsight, I think like they feel like my shit would have looked different if I would have left, right? If I would have left Oakland High when that shit, like when the sink started to ship, I mean, when the ship started to sink, let me jump off right now, man. Go here. And I don't know what the sit out rules were back then. I don't know.
But that too.
Like, do people got to sit out? Did we have?
We definitely had to sit out a year if we transfer. We had to sit out a year if we transferred for sure.
A whole year?
Well, see, it just depends because like when I was going to go to Mac, I was going to do the hardship. I wouldn't have had to sit out.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like you got people like, I know what's the name started at Mac. Or no, he didn't sit out.
You know, it's all kind of loopholes.
Delonte tried to hate on Delonte, but he never sat out a year. Now we did do Armand Wainwright, and he got Fremont blown off. One of the best Fremont teams, like couldn't finish the season. So you got that. You got Paul Marigny bounced from Mac to Castlemont. You know, wasn't no. I don't know what the rules are, right?
It's kind of like committing a crime. You could get away with it if nobody say nothing. But if somebody say something,
And that's how it is now. Like, so it's like kids transferring, going to different places, and it's like me personally, right? If Ken transfer from low school that he's the coach at, right? I'm not going to go hate on you.
No, not at
I
high
don't want
school.
you to not. I don't want you to not play. You know
No.
what I'm saying? And then again, does hating on you to where you can't play does what for me? You know what I'm saying?
I'm always looking in the mirror. So if he transferred, I gotta see why did he transfer? And it might have nothing to do with you.
But what if he tried to come back? Would you accept him back? How would you play that?
Life not black and white. Every situation is different. Why are you coming? Why did you leave? Why are you coming back? Did you leave in good standing? It's like an ex. Like, why did we break up? Why
Yeah,
are you coming
like,
back?
but it's like, hey, you know what? You went and entertained another dude. Like,
Yeah, but I don't own you, bro. This is a
do I
kid.
want you back after you went and entertained the other? I don't want you back. Like, cause now I feel you coming back and you don't really want to be here.
No. But
I
every
don't.
situation is different. Maybe that was the case for that kid. Maybe that kid was like, but every situation is different. So I don't treat every situation the same.
So now I send a kid back if they say, "Hey, man, coach, my mama, my daddy want to move me, my mama want to move me."
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They go somewhere and don't like it. The kid not happy. Then hey, coach, can he come back? He don't like it here. He not happy. That's not the kid decision, right?
Right.
Now, if it's a kid, I don't want to be here. I'm transferring all of that stuff, and you leave, and you feel you gonna get suspended. So you like, oh, I don't want to get suspended. Let me come back there. I kind of don't want you back though. Now you're gonna be a cancer to my team because you don't
Not
want to be here.
necessarily. Okay, I'll put it to you like this. I literally was leaving Oakland High. Like I was for all intents and purposes at McClymonds. But it didn't work out, so I had to come back. I wasn't a cancer to the team. I had fully embraced the team. Now, my coach probably didn't know that I was doing all that. I wasn't upfront about that part. So maybe he just didn't know. But even when I came back, whether he knew or not, I wasn't a cancer to the team. I was good.
See, I left practice with Skyline the whole summer.
Yeah.
Came back, was a cancer to the team.
Yeah, that wasn't.
But you got to think, I also did start the year off ineligible too. So I had to give my grades. So I wasn't in a locker room on some ineligible locker room attitude type shit. It was, I'm ineligible, Pizzo ineligible, Darius ineligible. We all hung together and we busted our ass to get our grades right. And it's like we came in and messed up the camaraderie of that locker room when we got eligible because it was, hey, bro, give my number 4. So the person that had number 4,
see, that's what I'm saying. Like, every situation is different. Yeah, you're a jackass. I'm a great teammate.
He gave me my number 4. He got sent down to JV, like that type. He gave me number 4. He gets sent down to JV, and now it's like whoever the receiver was is, hey, bro, Ray Cleve, I need that. So it's kind of like that's how me and Matt and Mikey had that thing. I would fight you too. We came in with a fucked up attitude, right? Yes. And it's all 3 of us, right? And we playing around. We wanted spots that we had before, but we didn't come back and earn them.
Right.
We didn't come back and earn them. You know what I'm saying? We came back and, hey, coach, put me back on kickoff. He back. It was all of that shit, and it was like, bro, we didn't do this right. You know what I'm saying? Right. And that's one of the ones. Coach Edwards probably would have saved the locker room by saying, hey, man, you know, we tried to go to Skyline, all of this shit. I don't really go back.
But this is what the difference with high school. And this was the issue I had at Madison. If he saved the team or the locker room, but by letting you back on the team, did he save you?
So that's one of them things. And so I saw a thing that said, right, each kid is at every kid, if a kid is at football practice, that means he's not at the streets, right?
Exactly.
So, but my thing is, I hate that narrative, right? Mm-hmm. Like even when COVID first hit and football was shut down, it was like, man, we gonna lose these kids if we ain't playing. They gonna be on the streets. Why is it the worst scenario for the kid? Like, why is it if he's not doing this, it's automatically he's gonna be doing this, right?
But what were you doing when you weren't at practice?
I see, but me, I had to get my grades up because I wanted to play, right? I wanted to play. I fucked off a lot of free time, but it wasn't I was gonna be in the streets. I wanted to play. I wanted to finish this thing out, right? But I'm thinking about them kids that the narrative is like, why is it if football get taken away from us, the only other thing is you gonna be in the streets? Like, I hate that narrative.
Yeah, but an idle mind is the devil's playground. So,
but it don't have to be idle. That shit could be spent doing something that somebody is passionate about. You know what I'm saying?
well, yeah, and then that's just knowing the kid, and if that's what you like. Okay, when I was at Madison, right, there were some kids I kicked off the team, but I knew that they were good.
They in Sabrani Park. I don't know if they from Sabrani Park. I don't know.
No, listen. So there were some kids that I kicked off, but I knew that they were going to be okay. Like they were a science kid, or they wasn't going to be in the streets,
right?
Right. But there are some kids where I'm like, I got to get this dude about 10 chances because if he ain't here, he's going to be on the block.
Understandable, right? Understandable.
So you got to know the kid, and sometimes it is if he's not here, he's there. And then sometimes it's like if he's not here, he's going to go home and play video games. So let that guy go.
But here's the catch-22 to that, Ken. What does that do to the rest of the team and that influence that it have on the rest of the team, right? Because you can see it now. True story. I told before I left the Lions, I told them we cannot have let's not do high school kids playing youth football, right? Okay. Let's keep our 8th graders and stuff like that, right? Because the high school kids naturally have an effect on the younger kids, right? So now you get some high school kids in and they with the shit. They banging shit. They banging now, right? Now you saving this kid for not being on the streets, but now this kid then came in, basically kind of recruited 3 more kids, right? So you kind of like, well, you fucked off this type of shit. You know what I'm saying? And that's when I'd be like, dude, I would hate to say this, man, because I don't want to come off as that coach that don't give a shit about the kid, because I do give a fuck about the kid, right? But saving 30 kids to lose one is a good, like if one kid goes, a kid from not afflicting or recruiting 30 more kids, I'm cool. I understand that, right? Every fight, we're not going to save all. It just happens, right?
Yeah, you're not going to save everybody.
It just happens like that, right? And that's one of my frustrations I see now, right? Because, Prince isn't going to high school. A lot of the kids he played with, he was always the younger kids. A lot of the kids that we didn't coach and came across are already in high school, right? And I see the kids that might be on the verge of crashing out. I see the kids when I send them a message, how I talk, in the conversation just change, right? It ain't hey, I'm respecting you, Coach Lowe, no more. It's, hey, I'm a grown man. I'm with that shit now thing, right? And they don't fully understand what's coming down that line. You know what I'm saying? And I talked about the other day. I pick I don't pick his friends, but I do pick who he can.
Bro, that's your job.
I pick who he can hang out with and when he hang out with him.
That is your job.
Like you can be cool. You can be cool with everybody. Remember, you about to hang out with everybody.
No.
So if some kids, if he called me and said, "Hey, can I go to Bay Street with?"
No,
absolutely, hell no, you can't go. Why I can't go? Because I seen his social media. I seen what he's up. No, even if I knew their parents since they was 5, I don't give a damn right now, right? So it's like I'm seeing that, and that's what's frustrating me because I know their parents see it. I know somebody see it, and it's like, can you go get this kid? How much more can I, because
I mean, if it get to that point, yeah, you gotta let them go.
And that's why I'm like, so sometimes when you bring them things down, I'm like, man, you might be a cancer to the team in a different way. We saving you from the streets, but your influence is bringing some more people to the street that, like the culture that you talked about, right? Yeah. All the kids walking around in Scullies and shit. It's like, dude, they see you at Scullies and you banging it. They think naturally the kids be thinking that shit is cool.
Yeah.
They gravitate to it. And I don't really want to have that around my team. Like, I've had issues with I came under Coach Pete. Coach Pete was kind of strict at Laney.
Yeah,
right?
I'm a no-nonsense coach.
No nonsense, right?
Yeah.
Uniform, right? We all
Same.
white socks. Whole team wearing white socks.
Yeah.
The kid that don't got white socks, you ain't starting today, right? Me and Janato, rest his soul. Big arguments all the time because I let your kid do this, then his kid. So now his kid, who I love coaching, I got to tell him he's not starting today over some fucking socks. But it wasn't the socks.
It's not
once
the
you
socks.
get accustomed to breaking rules, that become the norm. And I was trying to get Nado to understand this. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, dude, like, I can't let y'all just do this, right? So it looked like I'm being a stickler, but it's like, nah, dude, it is the rules. And I learned this shit from who I learned.
Hey, look, man, you can go to Oregon and have 50 different uniforms. You can go to Alabama and you're going to have 2, home and away. And every school ain't for everybody. So
everybody, right?
I love you. We grew up together. We played together. This is how it is. And This is why. And I'm going to give you the why. But my philosophy may not be your philosophy. And that's fine.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
That's fine. Everybody's not for me. And I'm going to win and lose my way.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things, man. So let me ask you this, Ken, as we get ready to wrap this update episode up, who are some guests you looking for? We said Mikey, those those like the wishful thinking.
All right. So how many you want?
Give me 4 that you're looking forward to seeing. Matter of fact, give me 5 because you can throw a coach in there or whatever.
So this is kind of like a wish list. Giannis Davis.
Okay, Jan.
I want Jan on. Marshawn.
Okay.
I want Marshawn on. We definitely got to get some coaches like Coach Limbrick and
okay.
Yeah, we got to get some coaches on. Coach Harold Jefferson been coaching Oklahoma High for like 50 years.
Okay.
We got to I would love to get Coach Peters. We haven't had Beam on. We got to get Beam on.
We need Beam.
We got to get Beam on. Somebody on one of our lists we talked about has expressed a big interest of actually working with us.
Okay.
But I can't drop the name yet.
Okay. So that person, I know who you're talking about, right? I would want to see Dame Lillard, right?
Yeah.
I want to see Dame. The only reason I want to see Dame, it was a list. Damn, I think Toby could have posted this and said is Dame Lillard the best guard that come out of Oakland?
Yeah,
right?
with the GP and Jason Kidd and all that.
Yeah,
Brian Shaw.
Yeah, but I think he meant OAL, right? OAL. And so if we're counting high school, this is what I said in my comment. If we're counting high school, Dame not even the best that went to Oakland High.
If you cut it off at 12th grade, if you just cut it off at 12th grade.
12th grade. He's not even the best that come from Oakland High, right? No. I said I go with a Yende over Dame, right?
Yep.
I'm going Armando over Dame. High school, right? Talking high school. Now, what didn't happen? What we seen,
right?
That's no comparison.
Yeah,
no comparison to nobody.
It's not even a conversation.
Right? Not even nobody. I'm giving like right now. I'm fucking putting Dame above GP and GP a Hall of Famer, J Kidd a Hall of Famer, right? But Dame is 50 if we want 50, right? So, but we talking just high school. I got a Yende, right? So I want to see Dame come on. I would love it. That's a wish list. That's one of those wishful thinking things. If somebody could make that happen for us, so Dame. I would want to see. We talked Keith. I would want to see. Man, I need another Dadar brother, man. I don't know if it got to be T-Tone. I don't know who it got to be.
I'll take either one.
I need another Dadar brother, man. So either T-Tone, Mikey, one of them. Let me think who else. Brandon
Sanders. Yeah.
Brandon Sanders.
Yeah.
We need B Sanders to come on, man. I think B Sanders coming on will get Marshawn to come on, man. So we need B Sanders, man.
You know what'd be a great episode to just kind of bring everything full circle? And this is a Correga
Correga.
played at Tech, and he's been the head coach over there for a minute.
And he's been doing his thing.
Been doing his thing.
He got upset last year. He got
But
upset
that'll
last
be
year.
just to talk history.
And history from when he played in.
Yeah, I mean, he's seen it. He's seen a lot.
And the Oakland High game versus Tech this year was reminiscent of the 90s games,
I
right?
saw it.
Standing room, both games in the regular season coming down to the last shot of the game, those type of, like, that's impactful. And he have been a part of that. Definitely would want to see Correga come on. Man, we still gotta Fab. Man, we get Fab.
Gotta get Fab. I ran into Fab out here. But I don't think Fab really knows who I am. So when I approached him, he almost gave me, I was almost like I was a fan. And I was trying to, but we wasn't really in a place to really be chopping it up at that moment. Okay. So I didn't really get to holler, but yeah. I ran into Marshawn too, same thing, but I had one too many. And he absolutely didn't know who I was.
So we got that, and then we got who else can we Oliver Newell, man. Oliver, man, he's been one of the ones that's been debated about, and was a good ass baseball player too, man.
Man, shout out to O. When I got to San Jose State, O was like big bro. Like, he was done playing, but he was still a student, and he was like, giving me the lay of the land.
Yeah, so I take O. We get Oliver on here, man. Any other baseball guys, man? We had that.
We got to get JR.
JR, right?
I want TeMarcus, bro, and George Benson. I just think that would be the funniest.
TeMarcus Tyson?
Yeah.
T.Y.?
I want T.Y. I want Big George. I talked to George on the phone. I just think that would just be the most entertaining episode.
And that's one of the ones. So them guests, man. So those are guests that we want to see. We want to see those.
And Terry Johnson.
Terry Johnson, man, his son balling that day. He's at O'Dowd right now, man.
Yeah, we got to get Limbrick nephew.
Oh, Rashad. I'm a fan,
bro.
I'm a fan.
I think he's gonna be in the majors in like the next 6 years.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan. I've been watching the kid since he was with the Giants, starting T-baller, right? T-ball Giants and stuff when Prince was 3 or 4, right? And shout out to Rashad, his dad, and Dominique, his mom, man. They doing really well, really, really great with that kid, man. And I think just what he's doing right now in just his sophomore season, man, it's sky's the limit for Rashad, man. Little Rashad, man. So definitely, if we could get, and I think that's a spotlight that we can as well do. Just talk to some of the young athletes now, man, because we have so many athletes. We're older now. Our kids are the athletes.
Right,
our kids are living the moments that we're talking about for them days, man. And I don't think
crazy.
Like I remember Coach Edwards told us, man, you're gonna remember every high school game you played in. And I do. And I think they don't, like, from when I was at Fremont, I remember every game I played in, right? Wow. And that our kids now come up into this arena, like, to understand, like, the history of the OEL. Our kids, they're not OEL, they're not in the OEL, man, but we are the parent of these kids, right? Like, I would love, and it could be a controversial episode or whatever, I would love to have Ed Washington and his son on here.
That would be dope.
The story is amazing to coach at your alma mater, right? The most prideful person in the OEL right now, right? So to coach at your alma mater, bring your son through, and to get these offers and a possible scholarship from where you at. And a lot of people don't think it's possible. I would love to do that interview, right? Of course, we had pool coach Marcus Peters and that, and how that go, right? This can be the second coming of that. You know what I'm saying? And I would love to have that episode because their lenses is a lot different than the outside lens. The work that you have to go into on all aspects to get a scholarship out of Castlemont, from holding yourself accountable academically, putting in the work on the football field, and then just being a leader to rally guys against you. Like, so I can say that they getting who they get. You're not walking in and it just, you got all the football players came there. You getting the people that, nigga, you stick three walking through the hallways.
Right.
That come play football, you know, you getting that. So that would be a dope interview. I think I'm gonna hit Ed about that. He might not answer my call, so I'm gonna publicly put it out there, right?
He'll answer mine.
And I would hear the conversations, and we could talk the private school, public school thing, whatever, right? From a child's point of view and how he view it, right? That might change my whole stance on why I feel the way I feel. If he used to say, hey man, when that conversation get put out there and make it seem like us that go to public school feel less than, I would change my whole way about how I present that out there then. You know what I'm saying? If I heard it from that point of view. But the attack is you telling me what to do with my kid, that never was gonna do that. And that's where the gray area, that's the gray area, right? So man, we got some good stories that's gonna come up here, Ken, man. We gonna have to set it on fire, man. The rec center is back, man. I'm
excited.
I'm excited. I can't wait, man. Shout out to our viewers, man. I got a cousin that views this, man, and she hit me all the time. Lo, I listen to your podcast in my office. When the next story? I like these stories, man. So shout out to my cousin, man, because she the one that keep it going, man. Whenever we drop, it's like, okay, I got to hear this story, right? I'm hear who it is, right? So definitely, we getting back to it. I'm happy.
That's what's up, man. Well, we appreciate you guys tuning in. Like Lo said, we excited to be back, man. So hopefully our next break don't be as long. Definitely go ahead and just click that subscribe button. And if you enjoyed this episode, click the like button next to the episode. You can follow us on Instagram at the Rec Center Podcast. I'm Kenny Edwards for Lorenzo Parham. We out.
You know what I just about to